Started here in the garage, and then we'll get going. Hey guys, welcome back to AutoAmateur. Today is another AutoAmateur Live. Hey Christopher, thanks for joining. How you doing? So, my day this week has been so long. I managed to wake up at like 4 a.m. I've been working pretty much most of the day. Now my working day's come to an end, so now it's time to play in the garage. As a lot of you know, I'm going to be going to the Tail of the Dragon next week, and my car is now at around 105,000 miles. And the last time the oil was changed was at 100, so it's about that time. Welcome more guys. Let's see, Brandon, Mario, Trond, Jeremy, Daniel. Hey guys, thanks for coming. So this first part of the live, I'm gonna be taking apart the back of the engine, pulling out the oil filter after I've removed the fans, and then I'll be draining the oil. In fact, I think I'm going to do that in the other way, in reverse this time. Just thinking about the live, sort of scenario. I can show you how to pull the back of the car apart as the oil's draining away. So we'll probably start with the oil draining away first. Now, oil changes are a lot of fun. They can be a little intimidating at first. It was for me. I've now done it enough times to sort of be dangerous, I guess. I changed the oil 2 or 3 times in my 996, 2 or 3 times for my 997, and this is now probably my 3rd time doing it for my 991. Yeah, that's right, because I bought it around 96,000 miles and I've now got 105 on, so this will be my 3rd oil change. Porsche recommend these days that you can go even as high as 10,000 miles with the fully synthetic oils and the quality of the engines these days. Most Porsche nuts like me like to do the oil change within 5,000 miles, every 5,000, and I think that's about right. At the same time though, if you plan for 5 and you end up driving 6 or 7,000 miles, it's not the end of the world. It'd be a different story if you were driving 10 and then not changing it, 10, 11, 12,000 miles. So I think 5,000 miles is the right number for us Porsche enthusiasts. I'm going to be using Mobile 1. This is what Porsche recommends. So I'm just, doing as I'm told. I've got the 0 to 40 weight. Now, this is like a good all-rounder. If we open up this can of worms, we might be here forever. There's a lot of back and forth on the forums about which oil you should use. And the one thing I've taken away from that is if you're in particularly cold climates or ridiculously warm climates, then you might want to veer slightly heavier or lighter than this particular weight. But for the vast majority of us, this is absolutely fine. And I'm gonna have to double check, around 8 quarts. I'm back. Then a few other things we're gonna need. I have my little Dubry here. Rene, Dutch 911. Hey, thank you for joining. If you haven't checked out Rene on Instagram, he is Dutch 911, and he's getting a lot of fans, a lot of followers pretty quickly. So I've got this little guy, this Allen wrench to take out the drain plug. I'm going to be replacing the drain plug with a new one. Some people like to reuse them. I like to use new ones, considering they are made of relatively soft material. And then, of course, a crush washer to go underneath it. And then to get the oil filter out, here is my MAN oil filler replacement. You can get, like a Porsche branded one if you want to. These ones are rock solid, essentially. They're by MAN, M-A-N-N. And then here, this is interesting. Let me show you this. Here is the attachment you need to get the oil housing unit off the bottom of the 996 and the 997. Here is the one that you need for the 991. It's tiny! But then, as you'll see as we get into the back of the car, you'll see that there isn't a lot of space to work in there. So I'm glad that this is actually small, and it kind of takes off the top of the cap, where this one actually sort of fits around the entire weight of the oil housing in the 996, 997. I always thought it was interesting that Porsche put the oil housing on the bottom of the 996 and 997, and there wasn't a skid plate across it. So, you know, it's just tighter than hand tight. And yeah, Christopher, there you go. The buggies in the background, yeah, ready for baby girl is gonna be arriving in 6 weeks, you guys. Oh my God, 3 kids. It's gonna be great. But yeah, why would you put this on the underside of the car where it could potentially get ruptured, get pulled out without a skid plate over it? I don't know. I don't think it's ever happened, but I took one look at that when I first started working on the 996, 997 and thought, I could break that. And if I can break it, anyone can break it. So here we go. That's for the oil filter housing. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna get started. Last but not least, I have one of these guys. It's a flat oil container, and I just, open it up here. I can lay this under the car and the oil drains down. Now, another interesting fact, 996 and 997, standard ride height, this can slide underneath perfectly, no issues. 991, standard ride height, you can't slide this underneath. It must be a little lower than the 996 and 997. So, while my broken 996 is behind me, taking up my lift, I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. So I'm gonna be on my hands and knees, getting under the car, putting this underneath, taking out the oil, the drain plug, and letting it drain. So I've got my little, hand jack, whatever it's called, and there we go. I'm gonna lift the car up just a little bit, just so I can get this in. Is it ideal? The car should be flat, I guess, to get all the oil out, but my garage actually slopes off towards the front, and then that should, sort of make up for that and the oil should drain out. Good question coming in. What about 997 with PASM? My guess is you probably couldn't get this underneath a 997 with PASM. Well, maybe. There was very little wiggle room with my standard ride height. What am I doing with that blue Porsche, asks Bob. Well, it's sat behind me. It's my friend Pat and I's project car. It needs a new transmission, and it potentially needs a new casing on the bottom of the engine. Other than that, it's awesome. Brand new coat of paint, wheels, brakes, spoiler, air filters, brake fluid, interior touch-up, bumper. I mean, it looks like a brand new car, but it's sitting there broken, unfortunately. I do have a sponsor for my, I do have a sponsor for the transmission. So I've got somebody who's willing to donate a transmission and sponsor, which is fantastic. And he's a pretty cool guy. He's got a pretty big fitness brand, EB30X, Eric Bassett in the Chicago area. He is gonna sponsor the transmission. Depending on what happens with the engine, we'll see where we go from there. But I would love, love, love to get this thing back on the road. Otherwise, we're gonna sell it, lickety split, get our money back, and we'll look for the next project car. Anyway, without further ado, let's start getting the oil out. This way. Follow me, in fact. All right, let's get started. Now, actually, because I don't want to show you my brickies crack as I'm crawling around on the floor, I've already gone underneath and put the hockey puck, and I've already lined up my jack, so it's just gonna go straight up. And I don't need to take it up very high. The wheel probably even won't need to come off the ground. That should be enough. I might be out of gloves, so we're just gonna have to get down and dirty. Bear with me. The question is, can I get you guys on the floor with me? Maybe. Hang on. Lefty loosey. All right, I might need to bring it up just a little bit more. Now, you guys didn't think that I was going to have you join an oil change live, especially on April's 1st, without seeing the money shot? No. Let's go see the money shot. Hang on. Can you guys see? All right, that should work. Hold your horses. Where are you, you bugger? Oh, there it is. I hope you can see this, guys. It would be a real shame if you can't. Just a little twist. Oh, the intensity, the anticipation. Yeah. There it is. That's the money shot, you guys. Yep, bit of cleanup. So that's probably gonna take, Alberto, yes. Why aren't I using the lift? You know, that's a really good question. And unfortunately, it's because my 996 is on the lift and it's currently broken. So I can't move it. But you know, this is all good fun. Doing it the old-fashioned way, I feel like I'm earning my lunch. Well, my dinner, I guess. Hey guys, what's up? You know, just underneath the car. All right. Now this is interesting, playing with my iPhone while I've got oil on my hands. It's one thing I didn't come prepared with. Gloves. But that's okay. I don't mind getting down and dirty. Okay, let's work on the top of the car now. Now I want you guys to have a good view, so we're going up. Oh. Okay, how's that? You guys see okay? That'll do. Oh, shit. Nick Murray, 39 people watching someone drain oil. It's exciting, Nick. You might learn a thing or two, my son. All right, so here's the back of the beautiful 991. As many 996 and 997 fans love, you can't see the engine. That's a bit of a bummer. You really can't see the engine. Anyway, you do get these two pretty cool looking fans. If you had the GT3, you'd have a little bit of carbon fiber in here. You know what, Nick Murray, if you're still watching, you can get this in carbon fiber. And I just might do that. Anyway, here's where we're gonna put the oil afterwards. But first, we're gonna take out this, and then we need to get down here to where the oil filter is. So inside here, we've got a little bit of plastic. And now, if you're good, you can pop all of this out in one go. If you want to take your time, you can take this top off and then the fans, but we'll see how it all sort of fits together. Because there are a couple of wiring harnesses here that you've got to just disconnect. And if I remember correctly, they're pretty straightforward for once, for Porsche. So that all sits together nicely. You see under here, the fans are actually just held into position with little rubber grommets and studs. So they're not drilled in and they're not fixed, but they're sort of just popping into place. Same over here. All right, there we go. Okay, next up, you can try and get to the oil housing, which is, let's see if you can see it, sort of right here. Unfortunately though, this gets in the way. The airbox, or the top of the airbox gets in the way. So I like to take this off to give myself a little bit more room. Because I am a big fella at the end of the day. So yeah, there it is. There's the oil filter housing. Let's get that off. When you guys have a front row seat, so just bear with me while I change it up. Okay, let's take this guy off, which just nicely pulls apart, as you can see. Let's get that wiring harness out of the way. Now, the other thing to just bear in mind is, you're working inside your engine bay here, and as we take the oil filter housing out, there may be a little bit of spillage. So what we typically do is, I don't think it's hot enough to set fire to this paper, but who knows? I like to just put a bit of paper around just to catch any oil spillage. And you know, if you know me, I might possibly do that because I'm a little bit clumsy. Okay, that should do. And then here's my little socket. And I need the extender because it's a fair way down. Lefty loosey. I've always got to tell myself that. So this isn't on particularly tightly. I'll double check the torque spec later, but I'm pretty sure this is like, God, I want to say 25 foot-pounds of torque, maybe 19. It's really not very much. I know quite a few people that work in garages that just hand tighten this. The thing is though, if you don't get it on tight enough, when you start the engine, oil will literally eject from this container and go everywhere. I have a friend actually who's now been nicknamed Oil Slick because he did exactly that. Okay, some more of this. I've got to say, guys, this is like it really is an enjoyable job to do. If you're an amateur mechanic, even if you're just good at following instructions, like, you can bake a cake, this is the kind of job that you can do. Now, again, ideally, I would be wearing gloves here, but unfortunately, I've either run out or I can't find them. So I'm going to pull this off first. And there shouldn't really be any oil on it. Just a little. When you buy the oil filter, yeah, $100,000 cake. When you buy the oil filter, you get a new O-ring to go around the outside. I'm not going to change that this time. I changed that 5,000 miles ago and it looks absolutely fine. If this had been on for 5 years for people who don't drive their car very much, or had been parked outside and it was getting heated and cooled, I probably would, but I'm not going to today. And then here comes the oil filter housing. Okay. That's it. Now let's go over to the workbench for a second. If you're a 996 or a 997 driver, or at least the first generation 997 driver, if you do your own oil change, or if you go to the garage to get it done, this is something you might want to try. We're going to open up the filter real quick. And I shouldn't have to do it for the 991, but we're going to open up this real quick just to see if we can find any debris inside the filter. Chances are we're going to find some black, some dirt. Hopefully we're not going to find anything shiny and metallic, otherwise we're in a lot of trouble. Oh, and how'd you like my new airbag knife? Uh-huh, yep. I bet you can probably pull these apart, but let's face it, it's not as enjoyable as cutting something with a massive military knife. Unsurprisingly, it's actually pretty warm because I got the engine up to operating temperature. But here we go. We're just going to take a look through the oil filter housing, and that is clean. That's what you call a clean oil filter housing. Now, if you were driving a 996 or a 997 and you did this, and you saw what looked like glitter or silver sprinkles on a donut, you need to go into the garage and you need to get your IMS done. But yeah, there's not even any black dirt here. This is really clean oil. Arguably, I could have gone another couple of thousand miles with this. But that's nice to see, Just a little bit of peace of mind. Matt Mormon, if you ever watch this video, I'm sorry for using one of your towels as an emergency cleanup device in my garage because I forgot my gloves and I don't have any wet wipes with me. Okay. So how are we doing so far? I know it's a pretty simple job. There are probably a lot of you watching thinking, oh my God, why would you go live doing something like this? But it's fun, And I know that there are a lot of YouTubers out there who are interested in doing these kind of jobs, but don't, because they either don't have the knowledge, they haven't seen it done before, or they don't have the, they don't have the stones to do it. They're worried they're going to break something. This is one of those jobs that's easy enough to do without worrying that you're going to really damage the car, as long as you follow some relatively, straightforward steps. So again, I do my oil changes every 5,000 miles. Hey, Scotland is watching. Awesome. Freedom! Wait. Do you like my Braveheart disguise? No, never mind. Okay, all right, let's go. Let's get cracking. So the oil's still draining out below. Like I said, I like to do this every 5,000 miles. You can go as far as 10, I think, if you wanted to push it with these newer oils, fully synthetic. Porsche, depending on which dealership you go to, they'll recommend anywhere between 5 and 10. But we Porsche enthusiasts like to do it. Porsche enthusiasts like to do it every 5,000 miles. Now, the next step is either going to get me a lot of hate, or you're going to just not care at all. So here's the replacement housing. There is some debate with these filter housings that are inverted essentially inside the engine bay. In the 997, they're down below. Here, they're sat up top. A lot of people like to pour oil and sort of lubricate these filters before they drive. I personally think that's a waste of time. And I'll tell you why. Because the minute you crank the engine, if you haven't got the top on this, you will know about it, because you will have an elephant jet of oil coming out the back of your car. And I've seen it happen. So it really doesn't bother me that I'm putting this in dry. I'm going to make sure it's secure. Then I'm going to put the lid back on. And I tell you, when I crank the car for the first time, the oil is I'm going to leave it sat here for like 5 minutes to level. The oil is going to soak into this before I even move the car. So here we go. And both ends are the same. Just sort of squeaks and squishes into place. There we go. And like I said, they do provide you with a new O-ring. But considering... Alexa, cancel. Why did Alexa come on then? So you do get a new O-ring, and they do recommend that you change this every time you change the oil. I changed my oil about, I want to say 4 months ago. If that rubber has degraded in 4 months, we've got bigger problems, guys. So this was brand new 4 months ago. I'm going to leave it on. I'm really not worried, but if you want to, and you probably should if you haven't done this before, change your O-ring and keep everybody happy. Okay, so that's almost on. I want to make sure the paper's out of the way. Oh, look, I'm glad I put that down there. There's a little bit of drippage. Okay. So I'm going to hand tighten it first, because I want to make sure that it's not threading. I want to make sure that I'm threading it on properly. And it's a little easier to tell, I think, if you're doing it with your hands than if you're doing it with a tool between you and the unit. Okay, so that's nice and tight. I'm now going to get my debris. And for all the amateurs out there that have threaded screws, I have no shame in telling myself, lefty loosey, righty tighty, because this saves me. I've done it twice now, where I've gone left instead of right, or right instead of left. And when you go right instead of left and you thread a bolt, and you got to pay somebody to remove that bolt, or beg on your best friend Patrick to do it for you, it's humbling, it's expensive, and it's a pain in the ass. So I am quite proudly saying, righty tighty. nice. Like I say, hand tight, just a little bit tighter than hand, or about 25. So now I can put the engine bay back together while the oil is still draining out. I've still got access to the oil cap, of course. So let's do that now. And this can get a little fiddly putting it back together. Even though it's relatively easy taking it out. One thing I would quite like to try is actually putting in one of those aftermarket air intakes, like the K&N unit or the AFE Power. And this always just takes a little embarrassingly too long to get in. There we go. I mean, I think my car's loud enough as it is, and I'm not going to get really any more power out of it, but it'd be quite a nice job, I think, to take everything apart and put a new air intake in. So here you'll see, when you put this back together, these two balls line up with the ports there, and same here. And if you get those in first correctly, then everything else should just go back down fine. I'm gonna start by just making sure I've got the wiring harnesses in, because that would be a real bummer if I forgot to do that. Okay, and now, let's just pull the plastic back through. Nope, can't do it. Being too clever, I'm gonna take apart the fans and I'm gonna seat them individually first, and then I'm gonna put the lid back on. The Porsche techs can do that in about 30 seconds. Clearly, I'm not as good as the Porsche techs. First. Oh. I will worry about putting the latch back on in a second, I think. Well, you can see here that my my little latch cable has come off, and it's a little fiddly to put it back, so I'm not gonna bore you guys while I do that now. I'll do that later. That's good enough for now. Is that? Yeah. Okay, now let's look into the car and see if the oil is still draining. Just a little drip. Okay, where did this go last time? There it is. And then just thread the frame back around. Okay. So while we just wait for the last little bit of oil to drip out of the car, some exciting stuff going on right now. These live series seem to be pretty popular. So we're going to continue making those later this week, or at least before Wednesday next week. I'm going to be doing a few of the jobs. I'm going to be taking off my rear bumper to put in some new air filters. I've been given some K&N air filters, not the full intake itself, but just the filters. So I'm going to be doing that. I'll do that live as well, so you can see me take the bumper off live. What else? Well, of course, then there's the trip to the tail of the dragon. I so can't wait. So my friend Patrick, he's driving down with us. We're stopping off in Indianapolis to pick up my friend Jeremy and his GT3. While we're there in Indianapolis overnight, I'm going to be putting a backup camera in for him, a hardwired backup camera. He has a wireless one right now and it's not working too well. And then the three of us are going to continue Thursday morning to get down to our cabin at the tail of the dragon, meeting up with Jay Reed. Friday, we've got, somebody said there, no, not K&N crap. I'll run it just for the tail of the dragon, and if it's no good, I'll take it out again. On the Friday, while we're at the tail of the dragon, just gonna be chilling, taking some B-roll, getting the drone up, finding some roadside barbecue. There's a good one in Robbinsville, I think, if I remember correctly. And just driving around. Saturday morning this week, next week coming, the 10th, we're doing a car meet. There are at least 20 people that have said yes so far, with another 80 maybes. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. We've got a guy driving over from Vegas. We've got a guy in Portland who's thinking about doing the drive. He probably needs to set off soon, so that decision. What else have we got to do? Oh, and then we're going down to Atlanta to do the Porsche experience on a track, GT3, and a Turbo S. It's going to be awesome. All right, so that's all back together now. The oil is basically drained out. There's just a couple of little drips, drip, drip, drip. If I was super OCD, I'd probably let this just sit here for another couple of hours and just make sure every last drip came out. But again, because the oil coming out looked pretty clean, the filter was really clean, I don't mind about that one or two little drip, drip, drip. So I'm gonna fill up now. I'm gonna start by putting in 5 quarts. You're supposed to go up to 8 or thereabouts. I'm gonna start with 5. Let it settle, come back again about 20 minutes later, top it up to 7, and then at that point, I'm going to start the engine and just let it take the measurement for me, because it's electronic. There are no dipsticks here. Apart from me, there are no dipsticks in the 991. Because I don't want to put too much oil in. That's the risk that you're doing when you're doing these jobs. You do not want to put too much oil in. So that's the plan. I'm going to do that right now. Let it settle, and then tomorrow I'm going to take it out for a drive. Jenny pounds, 7 liters, 7 quarts? No, I don't think it's 7 liters. I need to double check. What the hell are quarts? That's a good question. I don't know. You know what? I'm getting so confused between the imperial and metric system because I'm a Brit living in America. Jenny, just because it's you, I'm going to tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarts is 1, 2, 3, 4.5 liters, maybe, ish. Yes, 4.73 liters. How do you like them apples? Yeah, millimeters, inches, good God. All right, let's put the oil in. Quit dicking around. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 3:42 p.m.
Interesting. All right, better get cracking. By the way, Nick Murray, if you're still on, what did I get this weekend? On sale from Suncoast Parts. Carbon fiber valve stem caps. $12. $12. It's pretty good, right? Yep. All right, here we go. Enough of the monkey business. Let's take a look at my car's ass because, let's face it, it's pretty. So, got my good old wrench. Yeah, drain plug. Thank you, Brandon. Got the crush washer. I've got my new drain plug. Very new. Brand new. Yeah, that would be, oh, and that's the wrong, oh no, it's down under there. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it, if I just started pouring oil in and the oil caps aren't coming out to my garage floor. Yeah, we can all believe it. I know, that is definitely something that I would do. All right, I'll be back, as a Terminator once said. It's messy down there, I won't lie. All right. Thank you, Jeremy. All the best, mate. I'll be seeing you on Thursday morning next week. I'm just gonna clean up underneath real quick. Okay, now it's showtime. Got to put the oil in. So, I don't know how long this has taken so far, but as you can see, it's really not that bad of a job. I do need to get myself in better shape, I've got to say. All right, how are we doing? All right, here we go. Oil, coolant. Oil, coolant. Will we go live on the tail of the dragon? Hell yes, brother. In fact, let's talk about that real quick. Jay and I have got quite a plan. You don't need to watch the oil go in, do you? Maybe you do. Yeah, Jay and I have got quite a plan. We're gonna be going live on Instagram together as we go from here to our overnight destination. So on Wednesday, we'll be going live on Instagram, giving you progress of our drive. That'll make for some interesting, just sort of funny banter and Porsche chat. On Thursday, I'm gonna see if my friend Jeremy will let me go live in his garage. Why am I sweating? Honestly, do you wanna know? Because I suffer from really, really bad anxiety, which is funny considering I'm on a YouTube channel, talking with strangers and friends and the public. But yeah, when I'm doing jobs where things could go wrong, yeah, I'm pretty anxious to be honest, but bear with me. I'm not crazy, no, just a little anxious. And I'm also out of shape, so that also helps. So yeah, Wednesday we're gonna be doing Instagram Live as we go down. And then Thursday, I'm gonna see if my friend Jeremy will allow me to put a camera in his garage while I do the backup camera on his GT3. Oh my God, by the way, you should really tune in for that. His GT3 is beautiful. I mean, every GT3 is nice. His is black and it has red deviated stitching and red calipers and the red gauge faces and sports chrono. Oh my God, it is such a nice spec. He's got the sports seats, not the bucket seats. And you know what? He's a really, really nice guy. So it all works out well for him. So hopefully that'll be Thursday. I'm really rambling now, I'm sorry guys. Thursday afternoon, we'll drive down to the tail. Probably won't go live Thursday night unless we get a bit drunk on the grill, on the balcony, grilling. Friday, we're gonna be going live a couple of times from various points along the tail of the dragon. And then during the car meet itself, we'll be going live. So basically, we're gonna be going live all weekend as we do all of these events. Some of it will be on Facebook, some of it will be on Instagram, some of it will be on YouTube. And it'll be on my channel, AutoAmateur, and it'll also be on Jay Reed's channel. Yeah, someone just said, be careful, I'm not spilling the oil. Thank you. That's gonna be so much fun. Now, I think it's like 1,100 miles driving in what is basically a day and a half. Last time while we were there, over the course of the 3 or 4 days we were at the tail of the dragon, we did like another 600 miles of driving. Because you want to get there, you want to drive all the fancy roads. You want to drive the twisties, the turnies, you want to push your car to the limit. So pretty much, Jay and I are going to be spending the best part of the next 6 days in our cars. And the other thing is, if you want to come along. I've been vaccinated, thankfully, so's Jay, so's Patrick. Wear a mask, social distance. It's not invite only. You want to come along to the tail of the dragon, the meet? It's on my website. Go to AutoAmateur.com and look at our 2021 spring tour. If you're in the Atlanta area, you want to go, come along to Dunwoody, the Perimeter Mall for Caffeine and Octane, the country's biggest cars and coffee. So Saturday morning, Sunday morning, you guys are very welcome to join. Did you guys hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, that's my radar detector turning itself off. automatically after an hour. So that must mean we've been on for almost an hour, I guess. Okay, so that's the first 5 quarts. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it there and just settle for now. We're gonna wrap up in a second and I'll finish the rest later. Hang on. Yeah, so there you go. Almost done. Almost done. I'm gonna have to go and wash my fancy $10 Obsessed Garage towel. Matt, again, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Let's take a few comments. I've been trying to keep along with comments as we've been going. George is asking, is the 992 on my mind? Yeah, it really is. Especially now the GT3's been announced. And as much as I'd love a GT3, I'm never gonna get an allocation. I'm not fancy enough. But my friend Chris might be trading his 992, his red Carmine Red 992 in a year or so. So if I don't change my car before then, because I'm actually currently actively looking for a 991.1 GT3, I might go to that 992. So I don't know. That's pretty good. Questions, comments, anyone else? Have I ever driven an Evo? Yeah, I have actually. My cousin Gavin, who, rest his soul, is no longer with us. He was the same age as me. Yeah, he used to drive an Evo. And he also, what else did he like? He had like several. But yeah, I've been, well, okay, I haven't technically driven it. I've been in the passenger seat screaming as he threw me around the B roads in the northwest of England. That was fun. Anyway, yeah, that's my cousin Gavin. So that's it for the oil change, guys. I'm gonna tidy up here. I'm gonna let you guys get back to your day. I've got a few more things to do before I'm finished up. I wanna make sure that latch isn't gonna lock me out. What do I think about the Porsche 968? Gorgeous. What would my preference be for the GT3 color? That's a great question. I would think something actually like this. What was the color? It was sapphire blue, I think it was. Absolutely beautiful. My friend Daniel, who I'm hopefully gonna meet for the first time, Tail of the Dragon, he's just got a blue GT3. Looks gorgeous. So I'm thinking blue, not black, not gray. I'm done with black and gray cars, he said, having bought a black and gray truck. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you on another AutoAmateur Live. Tomorrow, a new podcast is dropping with Daniel from Jet Fuel Only. We'll be doing live on Sunday. More content coming soon. Take care. Love you.